Hey guys, we're back in the studio this time and we're trying something new today. We are actually recording video on the Fujifilm X-H2s, and I have to say, thank you so much for all the support in the first month of this channel. I was lucky enough to get the Fuji X-H2s on day one. I am loving it, and it looks like there's a lot of people who are really interested in this camera. So I'm gonna keep regular content coming, gonna show the good, the bad, the ugly, and we're gonna dive in on this stuff together. But I do have to say, I think a lot of people are really wrong about something. I keep seeing hate and complaining about the PASM dial. And I have to say, guys, you're just not right. Now, I'm not saying you need to love PASM dials, but bear with me for a second here and I'll explain. This camera is a flagship, super-powered workhorse hybrid machine. We're talking high frames per second, sophisticated video quality, high dynamic range in video, autofocus that's going to rival the best in class. You want to complain and argue about who beats who and whatever, sure. But it's in the conversation. So, how do you take a camera with all of those features, all of that functionality, and then make it frustrating and cumbersome to access custom menus or only have a couple? I haven't shot a Fuji camera since my X-T3 that I sold to move over to a Canon R5. And I had to say right away the Canon was much better in terms of customization and accessing custom modes, but even the Canon only had 3, and I found they were a little bit of a hassle to set up and maybe a little bit of a hassle to access. The PASM dial on the new Fuji is so good, it's so fast, it's so easy to set things up, and it's so great to just be able to flick the thing and have everything that you need right there. 7 custom modes. When I first read about it, I thought, that's a lot. Who would use that? And here I am. I find myself using them all the time. I have them all programmed. For me, they're all video. And that's the funny thing. I bought this camera as a stills guy with a little bit of interest in video, and here I am with a YouTube channel spending 70 to 80% of my time in the field filming wildlife as opposed to photographing them. And I think for me it really speaks to the camera and the power of this machine that it makes it so easy and competent to go do this work. It makes you want to try it more and do more of that. So I get it. If you're not a PASM dial person and you don't like the ergonomics, that's okay. But maybe just think that this camera is not for you. And I have to say, so far, anybody who's complaining that they don't like the dial, it sounds like maybe this isn't the right camera for them, because I haven't heard any kind of working professionals or serious enthusiasts who go back and forth between video and stills, and they use a lot of different functionality that they want to be able to quickly recall. They're not complaining about the dial because you need it. It's integral to a camera like this. You need to be able to go back, forth, and just do that nonstop. So if you want traditional dials for shutter and for ISO, that's where the X-T5 is going to come in. And I think rather than be upset that the ergonomics on the X-H2s are not what you want, or that it's not a carbon copy of even the X-H1, this is a way more powerful camera, and Fuji's finally stepped up and we're finally in the game. So here we are with a beast of a camera, but they've also said we're not going to forget people who either can't afford or don't want to spend this much money, especially on functionality they're not going to use. And I think if you look at other brands, you will see that a lot of these top tier features are even maybe better than what Fuji's doing or whatever, same level, but they are out of reach in a lot of cases. When people talk about the price of this camera, I think they're really forgetting that really no one else is offering this level of sophistication and all these different modes rolled into one. So there's a lot of things people are kind of grumpy about. I know this is not your traditional retro feeling Fuji camera, although I'm staring at it here on a tripod and it looks pretty Fuji to me. I still see a big fat dial sitting up on the top where the PASM is. It just does something a little bit different now. Not an apologist. I'm still grumpy that I can't set ISO to a wheel. I'm doing some other tests. 240 frames per second footage has been a little funky. And actually, I recorded a bunch of YouTube videos earlier in 422. And they were all having an issue. I had to redo them all. So I'm not sure if that was a camera issue, a computer issue, a software issue. I don't know why. One other thing, we were trying a new lens. I spent all my money on the camera and I bought the new XF150-600 lens. For wildlife, that's my main go-to, but I still wanted something for wide angle, vlogging, whatever. So I bought the cheapest little lens I could find, the XC what is it? It's a 15 to 45. So far I really like it, but when reviewing some of the footage earlier from the videos that died, I did notice it seemed to be hunting and breathing a little bit. So we'll see if this is kind of pulsing. Again, please don't scream in the comments, new Fuji sucks. I would bet money it's on the lens. I haven't seen it do that with the big telephoto, and I was using my friend's 16mm 1.4 for a little while. I didn't really see it doing that at all there. So I would assume it's the lens, but at some point I'll try something different, and maybe it's not doing it at all this time, so we'll see how it goes. But don't hate if you don't like the PASM dial. Be excited that Fuji has really finally come together with a camera that kicks so much butt, and the X-H2 is going to come out. Maybe it won't have the dial, but then the X-T5 is going to be announced surely quickly after that. So if this thing's not doing it for you, just wait till 2023 and all of a sudden you're going to get your retro Fuji aesthetic with a crazy powerful new autofocus system, new sensor, the whole 9 yards. But Fuji, they are back with a vengeance. Camera's awesome, and long live the PASM dial. If you are using this camera for the ins and outs, you love it. We love it. I love it. You're wrong. If you don't like it, it's not the dial, it's just the camera's not for you. That's okay. Something will come.